and thank you all for coming here tonight. She says I do this pro bono, but every so often you get a beautiful, beautiful bonus. And coming to your island is a real pleasure. I wish all my incinerator battles could be fought on beautiful places like this. But this is a rare experience for my wife and I. Ellen, would you stand up? This is my wife, Ellen. And so we're very happy to be here, and lovely people. I've never been in a place where you can walk down the street and everybody says hello and they start a conversation. It's great. And I'm very excited to tell you that our hotel has been paid for by the Hotel Association on the island. So that's been no expense to the citizens. That's very, very good. Thank you. So without further ado, introduce myself. I've spent 30 years fighting incineration and promoting more sustainable ways of handling resources. Clearly, you're going to hear one side of the story tonight. I have been opposed to incineration for 30 years. There's another side. There are people that really believe in these technologies. And before I leave the island on Thursday, I invite anybody that wants to actually debate me. We've got another presentation tomorrow, but that could be a debate if we had somebody to present the other side in a formal debate. I would be happy to do that, or even happier to come back at a later date and have that debate. But as you've heard, my waste journey has taken me to 49 states in the US, 7 provinces in Canada, 63 other countries, and twice to the United Nations, the United Nations Commission on Sustainability. In between 1985 and 2000, my wife, Ellen, and I edited the weekly newsletter Waste Not. This is before internet. This is when you had to type it out, print it out, make the corrections, stuff it into envelopes, address the envelopes. It was an ordeal to get this out to thousands of people. And then we did that for the group Work on Waste. And between 1985 and 1995, we helped citizens groups defeat approximately 300 incinerators. And they've only built one incinerator since 1997 in the United States. Essentially, it's a dead industry in the United States. Now, in that, I learned something very important. I can't win these battles. Experts can't win these battles. There's no magic bullet. There's no argument I can take to a government and persuade them to go my way instead of their way. What I can do is to provide you ammunition. Affecting change is like driving a nail through a piece of wood. What I can do, and experts can do, is to sharpen the nail, to give you arguments, to give you facts. But we can't push that nail through the piece of wood. The experts can't. You need the hammer of public opinion. The hammer of public opinion to drive that nail home. So that's where you come in. Hopefully you can listen to what I say tonight and use those arguments, use those facts to win the arguments with your neighbors, with your friends, with your officials, with your representatives. It's no good for you to say to them, I heard Paul Connett talk the other day and he was very convincing against incineration. And then they say, well, what did he say? Oh, I don't remember. But he was very convincing. You're not going to be helpful to us in that. So hopefully you can learn this. I will be leaving the PowerPoint presentation with Charisse, so you can get this. You can go back and look at these pictures again. So what I'll be talking about tonight is the secret memorandum and the giveaway agreement, which we think has been signed by the government of Barbados. That's what Cahill Industries would like us to believe, that it's been signed, but I'm not sure that it has. Then I'll be talking about sustainability and waste, or rather resource management. Then I should be giving you the details of the zero waste solution, the zero waste strategy, much of which is going on the island already, so there's only some new stuff there. The other thing is to recognize the good things that are already happening on the island. and the arguments against conventional incinerators and gasifying incinerators. And then at the end I should give a summary. So first of all then, the secret memorandum and the government of Barbados' great giveaway. It's a great giveaway, as you'll see in a moment. But first of all, let's acknowledge that this group, Barbados Underground, has done a wonderful service to democracy on this island, to the future of this island, to the environment of this island, to the children of this island, by making this secret document available to everybody to read. And if they read it like me, they'll be as shocked as you know what, to read this. But we'll see. So this is a document where Cahill Energy is talking about his Barbados Waste-to-Energy project. The first thing to note is that Cahill Energy has never built, operated, or owned such a facility. So the entity that's been negotiated with your government has absolutely zero experience, practical experience, with what they've been selling. Then we hear from Cahill that this is their first Cahill project, a waste-to-energy factory using plasma gasification located in a small town, blah, blah, blah. It's in its advanced stage of its development. Our company has received wholehearted support and cooperation from the government of Barbados in the development, investment, and construction of the project. Now, if it wasn't for Barbados Underground, nobody on this island would have known that, right? How far it's been advanced? Because the project is now in an advanced stage of development, the potential risks for project development have disappeared. The key factors driving future development will be construction and operation efficiency. Therefore, Cahill has chosen to sell Cahill Energy Barbados and use the funds generated by the sale to improve its project development business. So this Cahill has just negotiated with the government for a piece of paper which it's now going to sell for an enormous amount of money to some waste-to-energy entity somewhere in the world. Incredible. All important agreements and preliminary studies about project site, raw material and product sales have already been done, inspiring strong confidence that the project's financial performance will follow the projections. With high internal rate of return, and listen to this phrase, strong grassroots political support. Now, how can a project which has been conducted in secret, that people didn't know about, in which you had no public hearings, how can you say with a straight face that you've got strong grassroots political support? Now, if this is one of the annual reports of your financial status of your company, and you submitted this to Wall Street, you would be in deep, deep trouble. Because you're lying. You can't lie when you're talking about business on Wall Street. You can lie to the people. You can lie to your politician, but you can't lie to Wall Street. But apparently these guys are not yet there. You know, they're already lying to potential investors. The implementation agreement, which has already been signed. Now I wonder, has the Prime Minister signed this? There was some discussion of this on the radio yesterday. I'm not sure. Has shown the degree of financial support the government of Barbados has given to the project. Let's see what they've given. The project site is provided by the Barbados government free of charge. So there it is, free of charge, free site. Secondly, the cost of construction and test runs for the integration of the product into the grid and the public water supply system are covered by the government of Barbados. Well, that's nice. Later on, it talks about all the water will be supplied by the government. And, oh, look at this. the project will be exempt from all kinds of taxes on corporate earnings, on share dividends, on deductions, capital incomes, and from all tariff. Now, one of the things they want free tariff on is the importation of tires. You might have to pay a tariff in normal circumstances, but this company will be able to import things like that without tariff, according to this agreement. They've got a 30-year-long waste supply agreement, which enables the project to use all of the increasing waste on the island. Did they not feel obliged to talk to Bees Recycling and the other independent recyclers on the island about giving all the waste to this company? I mean, is that fair? No, I don't think that's fair at all. Apparently this has been signed or reached, but again, I think there's a question mark of how much of this is public relations hype by Cahill to sell this to somebody, and how much is actually true. Because they have on a little statement there to the effect, don't hold us responsible for the accuracy of this information. That's wonderful, isn't it? They've also signed, apparently, a 30-year-long fixed power purchase agreement which allows electricity price to increase along with the rise in project costs. What this means is that the taxpayers of this island for 30 years are going to be paying a tipping fee for the waste which goes to that facility. It will begin at $30 a ton. You will also be paying the company the price of the electricity that is produced. It's going to be a lot of money. So you hear about $700 million of investors' money, but those investors are expecting to get that money back. And the only place where they can get that money back is from charging people to use this facility, how much they pay per ton, and selling the electricity. That's the only ways they've got of paying for this, $700 million. Now look at this one. If any clause in the implementation agreement is not fulfilled by the government of Barbados, and Cahill Energy Barbados chooses to terminate the implementation agreement, then CEB has the right to require the GOB to buy out the project. And the price of such a buyout will be the sum total of the equity investment made in the project, the total unamortized debt, compensation for the loss of potential investment returns caused by the premature termination of the contract, and other losses incurred. Now, this is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. This company could pick up millions and millions of dollars for doing absolute nothing. And don't think this is just scaremongering. Because let me tell you what happened in Kings Lynn, Norfolk. An American company called Wheelabrator negotiated a deal with the local government to build an incinerator. And their crafty lawyers put in there, if for some reason the government should change its mind, then the government owed Wheelabrator £150 million. £150 million, the politicians had to say we will pay this company for doing nothing, to doing absolutely nothing, because they changed their mind. And it's a credit to the councillors in Kings Lynn, Norfolk, that they took that gutsy move and they said, right, we'll pay you off and get the hell out of here. We don't want your incinerator. But that was a courageous thing to do, to take $150 million, the pounds, that's probably closer to $250 million, and just say we're going to pay this to the company just to get them out of town. Now, this great giveaway would be unacceptable for any multi-million-dollar project proposed for the island, would it not? But for a technology with a long history of failed projects and bankruptcies, it's utterly unbelievable. I mean, didn't they do any research at all? Didn't they just go to Wikipedia and put in plasma arc incineration and see how many projects have failed, how many have been mothballed because they didn't work or because they couldn't get the financing? I mean, that would have taken a few minutes. So are they really that incompetent? Or is there another agenda operating here? I don't know. By the way, before I came to Barbados, I had no knowledge of Barbados. I have no interest in the politics here, the political parties. I have no axe to grind. I'm just going to give you what I believe based upon 30 years of studying waste management. But the first thing you've got to know is the difference between PR hype, public relations, and the reality. And you can find a lot on this website called Green Action, who wrote a report called Incinerators in Disguise, and they document the dismal track record of various gasification, pyrolysis, and plasma arc, plasma torch facilities. And here's the hype: pollution-free, zero emissions, proven to be safe, zero waste, a new way to recycle. Waste is renewable energy, not incineration, alternative to landfills. This is some of the hype. Here's a company that was very good at this work. Thermo Select had its headquarters in Puerto Rico. The other half of the company was in horse racing and real estate, I think. But they promised so much with this facility. I was in St. Martin, the half Dutch, half French island. And Thermo Select tried to build there. And they were saying things like, you could put whole cars through there. You could put a whole Volkswagen bus, or the whole Volkswagen car through there. No problem. We can burn anything. We can destroy anything. No problem at all. We just make distilled water, energy, and there'll be no emissions. Well, they tried to pull this off in Germany. Now, it's a fancy-looking plant, isn't it? It looks pretty. But this only ran for 4 years, and it was shut down because of operational problems. They never produced the amount of energy they promised, and they failed their dioxin emissions, which is not the thing you want to do in Germany, because they actually enforced the regulations in Germany. So that facility is demolished. It's gone. Next facility, Bright Star. Oh, around the world you heard about Bright Star. This magic machine that was going to make energy, get rid of waste, no problem. And they built it in Wollongong, Australia. I visited the plant. They wouldn't let me enter. I asked them for the dioxin emissions. They wouldn't give them to me. And a couple of years later, the thing was closed down. They couldn't get enough waste. They too had operational problems, and they also exceeded their emissions. So that's gone. That was closed down. And then we have Plasco. Now, Plasco made the mistake of building a plant an hour from where I lived. So I had easy access. Again, they wouldn't let me visit the plant. But I did debate the owner, Rod Bryden, the former owner of the Ottawa Senators hockey team. So his experience of waste management was dealing with hockey players. Now they built, I think it was 100 tons per day plasma arcing incinerator. They got strong support from the city of Ottawa, the mayor, I think was a friend of Rod Bryden, and the council. And Plasco would use the support of Ottawa, which is a beautiful city, around the world to launch other projects. They tried to build them in British Columbia. They tried to get one in Los Angeles. They tried to get one in Lucca, in Italy. And that was a mistake, because one of the best anti-incineration activists in Italy lives nearby. And they didn't succeed. It was promoted around the world with huge sales hype. But the facility never operated for more than a few days. They produced very little energy, and they exceeded emission standards. Now, I remember when I debated Rod Bryden, I said, you say in your pamphlet, measurements show no dioxin emissions. I said, people have contacted Environment Canada and they've told us that they haven't done any dioxin measurements. So how can you say that there's zero dioxin emissions? Oh, he said, it says, what we meant to say is that there should be no dioxin emissions because no air gets into the furnace. I said, wait a moment. How can you say that no air gets into the furnace? You're burning waste, right? What do you have in waste? Bottles. What are bottles filled with? Air. What have you got between pieces of trash? You've got air. So don't tell me you've got no air going into here. You're going to produce dioxin. Anyway, this is an excerpt from a newspaper report from February the 11th, 2015. The city helped test Cahill Energy Group's waste energy technology for 10 years, but it is ending the partnership after the company failed to meet a final deadline on financing for a commercial plant. It couldn't raise the money. The company also applied for creditor protection this week. I think that's another word for bankruptcy. Creditor protection. So that's another one that's hit the desk. Now there's a general concern here. Now, let me just say this. I believe there are people that truly believe in these technologies, right? There are engineers out there, very clever ones. There are people that have got PhDs in plasma physics, and they really believe in this, and they really want to make this work. And I think there are other people that believe in these technologies. I've just come from Hong Kong, and there I met 4 or 5 people that are considered to be environmentalists, and they're very excited about plasma gasification. But they're also mixed in amongst this are these get-rich-quick people who see this as a huge money-making venture. Now, I don't mind them making money if it actually works and they actually do what they say they're going to do, handle the waste and produce energy, etc. That's fine, they're doing business and they deserve to make money. What I object to is fleecing investors, pretending to have something, get the investment coming in for several years, fill your directors' pockets with money, and then go bankrupt. And so all the investors lose their money, but not the primary orchestration.